What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Hoops here, and today we're going to be starting a series where we rank the top 7 or top 5 prospects at each position in the 2020 NBA Draft. Depending on how deep the position is, will determine whether 5 players or 7 players will be ranked in the series. I had these videos planned out in my notes for about a month now, but I recently saw Pacific Hoops made a video about the top 5 point guards in the NBA Draft. He sounds like a nice guy and all, but let's just say he forgot to mention Tyrese Haliburton, and a lot of his other rankings were very questionable, to me at least. The 2020 NBA Draft is incredibly deep at the point guard position, and we could easily see 9 or maybe even 10 point guards taken in the first round. Since school has been cancelled, I've taken the past few days to watch film and some highlights of the top point guard prospects in the 2020 NBA Draft, and let's just say my rankings have changed a lot. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. Number 7, Theo Mannan. Theo has been battling injuries and some other issues with ASVEL, but most recently he was averaging 7 points and 3 assists. More importantly, he's shooting 34% from 3-point range and 75% from the free throw line. These are good indications that his shot will translate to the NBA, but to even further justify his shooting, his shot off the dribble is very quick with a very high release. Theo gets to the rim relatively easy in France, but he does need to gain strength to his lanky 6'4", 174-pound frame to be able to finish better in traffic in the NBA. He plays with great intensity on both sides of the ball, and he puts a lot of effort in stopping his man on defense. On the negative side, he doesn't have the best athleticism, which will hinder his playmaking in the NBA. Also, he is very foul prone as he averages 5.6 fouls per 36 minutes, and he is way too passive. A lot of these things are fixable, but due to his average athleticism and playmaking, his ceiling is not too high. Number 6, Kyrie Luis Jr. The 6'3" Alabama point guard is currently a sophomore at Alabama University, but he is only 18 years old and was playing college basketball as a 17-year-old. Kyrie was a solid player last year, but this year he's been able to average 18.5 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals in 37 minutes per game. He shoots the 3 ball at 36% and has all the fundamentals to be a great shooter. His form is incredibly smooth, he gets the ball out quick, and has elite range. On top of this, Kyrie has elite speed, which will allow him to excel in the open court and get tons of steals. His speed helps him a lot in his playmaking, where he comes off of pick and rolls with a ton of speed, forcing defenders to make extremely quick decisions about what to do. Also, on-ball defenders respect Kyrie's speed, which makes getting perimeter shots off much easier. He can be inconsistent from 3-point range, but as the season went on, he got much more consistent from deep. Just look at his final 12 to 15 games right here. He got so much better as the season went on. To continue, Kyrie has shown the ability to pass off the dribble, and with his athletic profile, he has potential to be a great playmaker. Kyrie is about to shoot up draft boards, but he still hasn't showed that he can run an NBA offense. At times, he becomes too focused on scoring for a point guard. He averages 3.5 turnovers per game, with multiple games with 7+ turnovers, and he goes for steals a bit too much on defense. He is still a very raw prospect, and the majority of these issues are fixable, so he definitely has potential to be a good/great offensive guard in the NBA. Number 5, Nikko Mannion. At Arizona, Nikko Mannion has reassured people of his incredible passing, leadership, and binding abilities. He averaged 14 points and 5 assists in 32 minutes per game, but only shot from 39% from the field and 32% from 3-point range. Before we get into those percentages, Nikko can run an offense better than every NBA point guard that's in the draft right now. He is an above average passer and has a great feel for the game going on around him. He is a great floater that he is able to use when finishing around the rim, and shoots well in catch and shoot situations. However, his shooting percentages are horrid at 39% from the field and 32% from 3-point range, and he hasn't shown many signs of how that could improve in the NBA. On top of this, he doesn't have great athleticism, and with his lanky 6'3", 180-pound frame, he will be a below average defender. Nikko's floor of being a quality point guard to a fringe starter is so high that he will be a top 25 pick and will be a top 5 point guard selected if the draft was today. He is on the fall right now, and the gap between him, Kyrie, and Theo is very slim. Number 4, Cole Anthony. The UNC product has gone from maybe my favorite draft prospect in early February to a player who is falling tremendously. Similar to Nikko Mannion, he has a lot of talent, but there are so many different negatives that he can pick out about his game. To start, Cole Anthony averaged 18 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds per game at UNC on 35% from 3-point range and 38% from the field. His supporting cast at North Carolina was terrible, so these stats are actually quite impressive. The best way to describe Cole is a microwave scorer who can score at all 3 levels. He's one of the most aggressive players in all of college basketball on the defensive and offensive side of the ball. He has quick feet and great defensive fundamentals that will make up for his 6'2" size in the NBA. The best part about his game by far is his toughness, as he is not afraid of anyone. There is one play against Virginia where he got hit with a hard elbow when going for a rebound versus a much bigger defender. He returned to the game and continued to be physical, take hard hits, and risk his body after he just got demolished by a hard elbow. However, in college, Cole was not the best when finishing around the rim, but he did improve in the second half of the season, showing potential for change in the NBA. Also, his shot selection is horrible, and it's a big reason why he shoots 38% from the field, so that's something that definitely needs to be cleaned up. Finally, his playmaking skills are very poor, and he gets tunnel vision a lot of the time, so that's definitely something he's going to need to improve upon. All in all, Cole will be a much better player in the NBA with more floor spacing, but will need to show in the draft prospect that he can lead an NBA offense and show potential to improve on some of his other weaknesses if he wants to be a top 8 selection. Number 3, Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese is a 6'5" point guard out of Iowa State who has seen his draft stock skyrocket this season, as he's averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists on 50% from the field and 42% from 3-point range. Tyrese has grown on me a bit, and he's definitely one of the most complete point guard prospects in the entire draft. He did everything at an average to great level in college, and there are no glaring weaknesses in his game. He is a great shooter, as he shoots free throws at 82% and the 3-ball at 42%. He has a great feel for the game, and he is a great passer. His court vision is on a whole nother level, and his 6'5" length with a super long wingspan allows him to be a pest on the defensive side of the ball. He will be a great defender in the NBA with his size and athleticism, but he will need to add more weight to his 175-pound frame to be considered an elite defender. He's one of those players that will affect the game in so many different ways that the stat sheet doesn't show, and will bind together every single one of his teammates on the floor. His main negatives are that he's not a huge scorer, and at times will be very passive with the ball in a half-court setting. Also, his shot off the dribble is very funky with a slow release, so it can be easily altered by defenders. These weaknesses are improvable, but I would find it very hard for Tyrese to score 20 plus points per game in the NBA. Overall, Tyrese is a complete game, but needs to be surrounded by scorers to really excel. Tyrese doesn't have the ability to become a team star player, rather he's a great complementary piece. And for that reason, the gap between him and Cole is not all that significant, because Cole has so much star potential that teams are going to be all over. Number 2, Killian Hayes. Killian has begun to rise in draft boards, but people are still sleeping on him because he's not the most flashy or athletic player. The 6'5" French point guard, who is currently playing in Germany, has one of the best offensive games in the entire draft class. In Germany, Killian is playing in the Euro Cup, where he has averaged 12 points and 5 assists in 24 minutes per game. To put this into perspective, KP, who was drafted 4th overall by the Knicks in 2015, averaged 11 points and 4 rebounds in the Euro Cup, and a fellow French point guard, Frank Ntilikina, averaged 6 points and 2 assists in the Euro Cup before he was drafted. Killian has shown that he can shoot, use his size and wingspan to make any pass on the floor, and sees the floor very well on the offensive side of the ball. He also excels in the pick and roll game and is a magician when facilitating with his left hand. His main weakness is the fact that he settles for pull-up shots and refuses to attack the rim when driving with his right hand. He's shown that he can finish when attacking with his right hand, and he's able to get to the rim when attacking on the right side of his body, but will freeze and settle for short, really tough jump shots. He only shoots about 2.5 free throws per game, but as he gains more confidence facilitating with his right hand, this number should increase. Obviously this, along with a few other minor weaknesses, will take some time to fix in the NBA, which are basically the reasons why he's one of the biggest projects with incredible potential in the NBA draft. Killian is only 18 years old, but since his game is already this advanced at such a young age, it shows serious potential. His potential to control the game in the NBA is very enticing, and is basically what the NBA is turning into. Number 1, Lamelo Ball. This was probably very obvious, but Lamelo Ball is not only the most talented point guard prospect, but the most talented player in the entire NBA draft. He has elite length and size for a point guard, as he's 6'7" and still growing. The best part about his game by far is his passing, as he may be the best passer we have ever seen coming out of the draft. He has incredible court vision, continually looks off defenders to make passes easier, can make every single pass possible, and he is so creative. His feel for the game is incredible, and his offensive instincts for an 18-year-old are extraordinary. His shot looks promising, and even though he shot the ball at 37% in Australia, it should translate relatively well to the NBA. This will be the swing factor about his game, and will determine how effective he will be in the NBA. He'll come into the NBA as an elite passer, but there are still concerns about his shot selection, defensive intensity, and lack of elite athleticism. As long as Lamelo Ball keeps improving the same way as he has been in the past 2 years, under great coaching in the NBA, he should jump to a whole new level. Tell me what you guys thought about these rankings and if you would change anything about them. Also, tell me which rankings you agree with and who your favorite point guard prospect is in the entire 2020 NBA draft. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Now with that said, I'm out and peace!